10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
D6. Knight C3. E5. Bishop F4. E takes F4. E3. Knight F6. Bishop D3. Bishop E7. E takes F4. Short castle. Knight F3. Bishop E6. Short castle. Knight C6. Rook E1. D5. Rook E2. Bishop F5. Rook E1. Bishop takes D3. Queen E2. D4. Knight F6. E3. G6. F4. Bishop G7. Knight F3. D6. Bishop D3. Short castle. Short castle. Rook E8. H3. Knight B D7. C3. E5. Bishop D2. E4. Bishop E2. E takes F3. Bishop takes F3. C6. Queen C2. D5. Knight A3. Knight E4. Bishop takes E4. D takes E4. Queen takes E4. Rook takes E4. D5. Knight F6. F4. D6. G3. E5. Knight H3. E takes F4. Knight F2. F takes G3. H takes G3. Knight F6. D3. Bishop E7. Knight C3. Short castle. E4. Bishop G4. Bishop D2. Bishop takes D1. Knight F takes D1. Knight takes E4. Knight F2. Knight takes D2. King takes D2. D5. Rook E1. D4. Knight CE4. E4. D6. Bishop C4. E5. Bishop takes F7 check. King takes F7. Queen F3 check. Knight F6. Queen B3 check. Bishop E6. Queen takes B7. Knight BD7. Knight F3. Queen B8. Knight G5 check. King E7. Queen takes B8. Rook takes B8. Knight takes E6. King takes E6. Knight C3. Bishop E7. D3. D4. C6. E3. D5. F4. Knight F6. Knight F3. E6. Bishop D3. Bishop E7. Short castle. Short castle. H3. Knight BD7. E4. Knight takes E4. Bishop takes E4. D takes E4. Knight E5. F5. Knight takes D7. Bishop takes D7. C3. C5. Bishop E3. C takes D4. Bishop takes D4. B6. Queen D2. Bishop C5. Queen E3. Bishop takes D4. C takes D4. Bishop C6. D4. D6. E4. E5. F3. E takes D4. C3. D takes c3. Bishop d3. c2. Bishop takes c2. Knight f6. Knight c3. Bishop e7. Bishop g5. Short castle. Bishop takes f6. Bishop takes f6. Knight ge2. Bishop takes c3 check. d4. Knight f6. e3. g6. f4. Bishop g7. Knight f3. Short castle. Bishop d3. d6. Short castle. Knight bd7. h3. Rook e8. f5. e5. F takes g6. F takes g6. D takes e5. D takes e5. e4. Knight c5. Knight c3. Knight takes d3. Queen takes d3. Knight takes e4. Queen takes e4. c3. d6. d3. e5. d4. Knight f6. e3. E takes d4. Knight f3. D takes e3. Queen e2. Bishop e7. Bishop takes e3. Short castle. Bishop d4. Rook e8. Bishop takes f6. Bishop takes f6. Knight bd2. Rook takes e2 check. Bishop takes e2. Bishop takes c3. Short castle. Bishop takes d2. Knight takes d2. f6. d4. Knight c6. e3. Knight f6. f4. d5. Knight f3. Bishop d7. Bishop d3. e6. Short castle. Bishop e7. h3. Short castle. e4. g6. E takes d5. Knight takes d5. Knight c3. Knight cb4. Knight takes d5. Knight takes d3. Knight c3. Knight b4. a3. Knight d5. Knight takes d5. Knight c3. d6. d4. e5. Knight f3. E takes d4. Queen takes d4. Knight f6. Queen d1. Bishop e7. Bishop d2. Short castle. e3. Bishop e6. Queen e2. Knight c6. Long castle. d5. h4. Queen c8. h5. a5. h6. g6. Knight d4. Knight takes d4. d4. Knight f6. e3. g6. f4. Bishop g7. Knight f3. d6. Bishop d3. Short castle. Short castle. Knight bd7. h3. e5. c4. e4. Bishop takes e4. Knight takes e4. d5. Knight ef6. Knight c3. c6. Bishop d2. C takes d5. d4. d6. Bishop g5. e5. Bishop takes d8. King takes d8. D takes e5. Knight f6. E takes d6. Bishop takes d6. Knight c3. Bishop e6. Knight f3. King e7. Knight g5. Knight c6. Knight takes e6. F takes e6. Knight b5. Rook a d8. Knight takes d6. C takes d6. e3. d5. Bishop d3. d4. Queen f3. d4. Knight f6. e3. e6. f4. Bishop e7. Knight f3. Short castle. f5. c5. F takes e6. d6. D takes c5. Bishop takes e6. C takes d6. Queen a5 check. c3. Bishop takes d6. Queen takes d6. Queen b6. Queen d2. Queen c7. Bishop e2. d4. e5. e3. E takes d4. E takes d4. d5. f4. Knight f6. Knight f3. Bishop e7. Bishop d3. Short castle. Short castle. c6. h3. g6. c4. Rook e8. C takes d5. C takes d5. Knight c3. Bishop f8. Bishop d2. Bishop g7. Queen c2. Knight e4. Bishop takes e4. f4. d6. Knight f3. e5. g3. E takes f4. Bishop g2. F takes g3. H takes g3. Knight f6. Short castle. Bishop e7. Knight g5. Bishop e6. Knight takes f7. King takes f7. d3. Rook f8. Bishop g5. King g8. Bishop takes f6. Bishop takes f6. Rook takes f6. Rook takes f6. Queen d2. Knight f3. e5. Knight takes e5. d6. Knight takes f7. King takes f7. e4. Knight f6. Bishop c4 check. Bishop e6. e5. Bishop takes c4. E takes f6. Queen takes f6. b3. Bishop b5. Knight c3. Bishop c6. Knight e4. Bishop takes e4. Queen e2. Bishop takes g2. Rook f1. Bishop c6. Bishop b2. d3. e5. e3. Knight c6. e4. g6. Knight f3. Bishop g7. Bishop e2. Knight ge7. Short castle. d6. h3. d5. E takes d5. Queen takes d5. Knight c3. Queen d8. Bishop e3. Short castle. Queen d2. Bishop e6. Rook a e1. f5. White didn't move, black is victorious. e3. e5. d4. Queen f6. D takes e5. Queen takes e5. Knight f3. Queen f6. Bishop d3. d6. Short castle. Bishop g4. Knight c3. h5. h3. Queen d8. H takes g4. H takes g4. Knight h2. Queen h4. f3. Queen takes h2 check. e4. d6. Bishop c4. e5. Bishop takes f7 check. King takes f7. Queen f3 check. Knight f6. Queen b3 check. Bishop e6. Queen e3. Knight c6. Knight f3. Queen d7. Knight g5 check. King e7. Knight takes e6. Queen takes e6. Queen e2. d5. d4. d5. e3. Knight f6. f4. c6. Knight f3. Bishop g4. Bishop d3. e6. h3. Bishop takes f3. Queen takes f3. Bishop e7. Knight c3. Knight b d7. Bishop d2. Knight f8. Long castle. h5. King b1. Knight g6. g4. h4. g5. Knight d7. f5. d4. e6. e3. d5. f4. Knight f6. Knight f3. Bishop e7. Bishop d3. Knight e4. Short castle. f5. h3. Short castle. Bishop takes e4. F takes e4. Knight e5. Knight d7. c3. Knight takes e5. F takes e5. Bishop d7. Rook takes f8 check. Queen takes f8. Bishop d2. Knight f3. d6. e3. e5. d4. e4. Knight fd2. d5. Knight c3. c5. b3. C takes d4. E takes d4. Knight f6. Bishop b2. Bishop d6. Bishop b5 check. Bishop d7. Bishop e2. Short castle. f3. Knight c6. F takes e4. D takes e4. Knight c takes e4. Knight takes e4. g3. d6. Bishop g2. e5. Knight c3. Knight f6. d4. Knight c6. D takes e5. D takes e5. Queen takes d8 check. Knight takes d8. Bishop takes b7. Knight takes b7. Bishop g5. h6. Long castle. H takes g5. Knight f3. Bishop d6. Knight takes e5. Bishop takes e5. Knight d5. Bishop d6. Knight takes f6 check. G takes f6. f4. Bishop e6. d4. e6. e3. f6. f4. Bishop e7. Knight f3. d6. Bishop d3. c6. Short castle. Bishop d7. h3. d5. f5. Knight h6. F takes e6. Short castle. E takes d7. Queen takes d7. Knight c3. Queen c7. Bishop d2. Bishop d6. Queen e2. f5. e4. g6. E takes d5. Bishop h2 check. Knight takes h2. Knight g4. Knight takes g4. F takes g4. e4. d6. Queen f3. e5. Bishop c4. Knight f6. Queen h5. Knight takes h5. Bishop takes f7 check. King takes f7. Knight f3. Knight f6. Knight g5 check. King g8. Knight e6. Bishop takes e6. Short castle. Queen e7. f4. Knight c6. f5. Bishop takes f5. E takes f5. h6. D3. G6. Bishop G5. D4. D5. E3. C6. F4. E6. Knight F3. Knight F6. F5. Bishop E7. F takes E6. F takes E6. Bishop D3. Short castle. Short castle. G6. H3. Knight E4. C4. D takes C4. Bishop takes C4. Knight D6. Bishop D3. Knight B5. Knight C3. Knight takes C3. B takes C3. Knight A6. Bishop takes A6. B takes A6. G3. D6. Bishop G2. E5. Knight F3. Knight F6. Short castle. Bishop E7. Knight takes E5. Knight C6. Knight takes F7. King takes F7. Bishop takes C6. B takes C6. F3. Rook E8. D3. King G8. Knight C3. Bishop D7. Knight E4. D5. Knight takes F6 check. Bishop takes F6. D4. Rook F8. E4. Bishop F5. D4. C5. E3. C takes D4. E takes D4. E6. Knight F3. Knight F6. Bishop E2. Bishop E7. Short castle. Short castle. H3. Rook E8. D5. D6. D takes E6. F takes E6. Knight C3. E5. Bishop E3. Bishop E6. Knight G5. D4. G6. E3. Bishop G7. F4. D6. Knight F3. Bishop G4. Bishop D3. Bishop takes F3. Queen takes F3. C6. Queen E2. D5. Short castle. E6. C4. Knight E7. C takes D5. Short castle. D takes E6. F takes E6. Knight C3. Knight F5. Bishop C4. Knight D6. Bishop takes E6 check. King H8. G3. D6. Bishop G2. E5. E3. Knight F6. Knight E2. Bishop E7. Short castle. Short castle. D4. Knight C6. D takes E5. Knight takes E5. C3. Knight C6. Bishop D2. Bishop D7. Knight A3. D5. Knight C4. D takes C4. E4. Knight takes E4. Bishop takes E4. Bishop F6. D4. E5. E3. E takes D4. E takes D4. Queen F6. Knight F3. C5. D takes C5. Bishop takes C5. Bishop E2. Queen B6. Short castle. Bishop takes F2 check. Rook takes F2. Knight F6. King F1. Knight G4. Queen E1. Queen takes F2 check. Queen takes F2. Knight takes F2. King takes F2. Short castle. Knight C3. Knight F3. D6. Knight G5. E5. Knight takes F7. King takes F7. e3. Knight f6. Bishop e2. h6. Bishop h5 check. Knight takes h5. Queen takes h5 check. King g8. Queen f3. Queen f6. Queen e2. Bishop g4. Short castle. Bishop takes e2. Rook e1. Bishop g4. f3. Bishop e6. Rook f1. Queen f7. Knight c3. Queen e7. Knight e4. d4. Knight f6. e3. d6. f4. Bishop g4. Knight f3. Bishop takes f3. Queen takes f3. Knight c6. Queen e2. e5. Queen d2. e4. c3. d5. c4. d takes c4. Bishop takes c4. Bishop e7. Bishop e2. Short castle. Short castle. Knight takes d4. h3. Knight takes e2 check. Queen takes e2. Knight h5. d4. c6. e3. d5. f4. e6. Knight f3. Bishop b4 check. c3. Bishop e7. Bishop d3. Knight f6. Short castle. Bishop d7. h3. Knight a6. e4. c5. e takes d5. c takes d4. c takes d4. Knight takes d5. Knight e5. Knight e3. Bishop takes e3.